Welcome to the 10th anniversary Moogle Treasure Trove, celebrating 10 years since the launch of A Realm Reborn. Anyway, this is the 11th Treasure Trove, 12th Moogle event involving collecting tomestones for items, but the 17th Moogle event in total, celebrating the 10th anniversary. I hope that's all clear. I'm beginning to think I made a mistake in counting these events sequentially. Treasure Troves have been, since they began, a lead up to a patch release, so I will try to refer to that instead from now on. So this would be the 6.5 Treasure Trove, the 10th anniversary hunt. This event is a little different, not in any sort of interesting way, just enough to make my work more tedious. Okay, so open the Duty Finder, that's you on PC or Mac keyboards. Instead of Moogles this time, there will be tiny 10th anniversary logos next to certain content. Complete those, and you will receive some irregular tomestones of 10-fold pageantry, which can be exchanged for items with the itinerant Moogles in Gridania, Ul'dah, and Limsa. Note that you will not be able to get tomestones if you complete the content with trusts or with duty support. This means you're going to have to play with other players. So while the tomestones from previous Trove events were based on successive currency tomestones used to buy endgame armor and accessories, the ones for this event are based on high-capacity tomestones, like how the Treasure Festival's tomestones were based on unidentified or encrypted tomestones. These tomestones were items that sat in your inventory and were used to purchase certain weapons. Once again, this Moogle Treasure Trove ends with the maintenance for patch 6.5. After that point, you will no longer be able to obtain these tomestones, but you should be able to exchange them until patch 7.0. To start with, we have the 2 dungeons and the trial that cap off the Realm Reborn MSQ, Castra Meridianum, the Praetorium, and Porta Decumana. Then we have the Crystal Tower Alliance Raid Series. That starts with the quest Legacy of Alog from the Outlandish Man in Mordona, and the Shadow of Mach Raid Series, which begins with the Unquiet Trader in the Pillars of Ishgard, who gives you the quest Sky Pirates. This is all that trial players can currently do. Keep in mind that after 7.0, the trial will be expanded to include Stormblood. That is, of course, after this event is over, but keep that in mind. From Stormblood, we have the Return to Ivalice raid series, which is unlocked through the quest line that begins in Kugane with Keaton, and the quest Dramatis Personae. The Yorha Dark Apocalypse raid series begins with a couple quests from the Gossiply Dwarf in Comra in the upper part of Kalusia. Moving into Endwalker, these 6 dungeons are all part of the MSQ, and will be unlocked if you have completed the main Endwalker story. Next is the entire Pandemonium raid series, all 12 parts. This is the Endwalker 8-player raid series. It starts with the quest, The Crystal from Beyond, from Nemgigi in Old Sharlayan. And then there is the Endwalker Alliance raid series, Myths of the Realm. You will first have to get up to the MSQ quest, A Brother's Grief. Then you will have to pick up the quest, A Mission in Mordona, from the Fresh-Faced Student in Old Sharlayan. These are the raids where you finally get to meet the 12. Note that there are only 2 parts of this currently available in-game. Finally, there is the Unreal version of Containment Bay Z1T9, where you fight Zurvan. You will need to have completed the quest Keeping Up with the Aliapos and the quest Fantastic Mr. Foe, the Fake Fox, both of which can be found and completed in Idleshire. Unreal trials are only available for a limited time. Unreal duties are found under the high-end duty tab in the duty finder. Note it does not have an anniversary symbol next to it, an issue they are aware of, but by selecting it you can see that it does in fact reward irregular tombstones. I don't believe it is required, but it wouldn't hurt to have completed the normal and extreme versions as part of the Warring Triad series. For PvP, there is of course Frontline and Rival Wings. The Borderlands Secure map is temporarily unavailable. And if what they did to the Shatter map is any indication, it'll probably come back in a much worse form. Rival Wings tends to be hard to get into, but it's usually a little easier during these events. Note that trial players are still barred from all PvP duties. So during this, there are 3 options on the Roulette tab that will always give you irregular tombstones: Main Scenario, Alliance Raids, and Frontline. So you can get those daily rewards and still get those tombstones for the Moogles. These first few items are only available during Moogle events, possibly only this specific event. If you have any interest in these, you should make them your top priority. The major 100 tombstone exclusive item this time is not a glamour item, but a fashion accessory, the Fat Cat Parasol, which I assume works like any other parasol, but it has a fat cat on it. The 10-year anniversary framers kit gives you some 10-year anniversary themed options for your adventure plate and portraits. I would guess that this will only be available for a limited time, possibly only for this event. Of course, there are the 10 magic prisms of job mastery for 1 tombstone. These have been available during most treasure trove events. These items were sold for gil during older Moogle events, and then made a comeback for the Treasure Festival in 2021. The scarf is a head item, and then there are 5 earrings. Most are single ear, but the bomb has a stud in the opposite ear. I'm not sure why the Coblin one doesn't go in the armoire. Then there is the Taoist Moogle. This is a cute Moogle minion that will dance with other Moogles when they are near. Now the most important thing to understand is that the rest of the items are available in-game at all times. However, some are more difficult to obtain than others. Hopefully this will help you decide if you want to grind tombstones or try to obtain these in the usual way. There are 6 items introduced with the Ishgardian Restoration. The Restoration begins with the level 60 quest, Towards the Firmament, picked up from the recruitment notice in Ishgard. This opens up a slew of crafting and gathering content. These 2 Pesa minions are both random first prizes from the Kupo of Fortune Scratcher game. You get Kupo vouchers from turning in 5 items of a certain level to Potkin. Even if you are into crafting and have unlocked the content, this is very random and these are relatively rare. You may be better off getting it from the market board or during this event. The Sky Blue Parasol is a fashion accessory that can be purchased for 900 Skybuilder script from Eni. It is also possible to get it from the Kupo of Fortune or in Fate presents that are rewarded for completing Fates in the Firmament. Ballroom Etiquette Uncouth Congratulations is the High Five emote that can be purchased for 1800 scripts and may also be found in Fate presents. Ballroom Etiquette Next Godliness is the sweeping emote that loops continuously. It costs 1800 scripts as well. And for 8400 scripts, you can buy the Big Shell Whistle, which is the Hermit Crab mount. These are all tradable and may be found on the market board. The Toad Head and Toad Suit can be purchased for Archaeotania's horns from Fathard in Yulmore. These horns drop from the boss fate in the Tempest, the head, the tail, the whole damned thing, which is the last fate in a 7 fate series. I believe you get at most 6 horns, so you would need to complete the fate at least twice to get the complete outfit. And now for Extreme Trials. Brand new to these events is the Fey Gwiber trumpet. This is the first of the dragon mounts that drop from Shadowbringer's Extreme Trials. This one is a rare drop from the Dancing Plague, where you fight Titania. And it can also be purchased from Fathard in Yulemoor for 99 king totems, which are obtained by completing the trial many times. Besides that, we have all 7 of the wolf mounts, or Kamwe mounts. These are rare drops in Extreme Stormblood trials, and can be purchased from Ashina in Rhalgr's Reach for the appropriate totems, which also come from their respective trials. This means you should easily be able to complete your collection for the Ninetails mount. So no horse or bird mounts this time. But we do have 2 Orchestrion rolls, To the Edge and The Final Day. These are both crafted rolls, so only the faded copies drop in the respective trials. The faded copies are used as material in creating the final usable roll. Both the finished rolls and the faded copies can be found on the market board. Back again is the Answers Orchestrion roll. This is also a crafted roll, but it not only requires the Answers faded copy, but faded copies of 2 other songs, which is why this can be quite expensive on the market board. And again, last seen in the Treasure Festival are Dancing Mad Parts 1, 2, and 3, but weirdly not the 4th. These all drop in Omega Sigmascape 4.0. The Verdant Partition is a green and leafy wall for the inside of your apartment or house. This is a rare drop from the last boss in Sant Mosiana's Arboretum, the hard mode. It may also be obtained from the Kupo of Fortune or in Fate Presents from the Ishgardian Restoration, and is tradable on the market board. Forgiven Hate is a minion that occasionally drops in the level 79 MSQ dungeon, Mount Golg. It is also tradable. The Shoebill minion is from the level 80 MSQ dungeon, Amarot. You may have seen this guy around. Anyway, this may also be found on the market board. These 7 housing items can be crafted or found on the market board. Some are pretty easy to craft and can be inexpensive to purchase. They are probably based on fan designs, but who's to say? The only item from Beast Tribes is the Garden's Gate Orchestrion roll, which can be purchased from the Pixies in Ilmeg after you obtain the appropriate rank. The Disembodied Head Resonator is a mount purchasable from E. Una Kotor in Quarry Mill in the South Shroud. It costs 10 Gilmoran potsherds, which may be found in bronze coffers in the Palace of the Dead. Ballroom Etiquette Excessive Petticoats gives you the Sweat emote. It can be purchased from the Confederate Custodian in the town of Onokoro in the Ruby Sea. It costs 10 Imperium potsherds, which can be found in Heaven on High. These cannot be sold on the market board. From Eureka Animos, we have the Tyrannosaur Horn, a very nice mount. This is rarely found in Anemos lockboxes. It cannot be sold on the market board. Ballroom Etiquette Insufficient Petticoats is the Shiver emote. It may be found in cold warped lockboxes in Eureka Pagos, and this may be found on the market board. The Samurai Barding for your Chocobo is found in heat warped lockboxes from Eureka Pyros, and is also sellable on the market board. Bozja is essentially the Shadowbringer's version of Eureka. It requires you to have finished the Shadowbringer's MSQ as well as the Return to Ivalice questline, and then you can pick up Hail to the Queen in Kugane from Keaton. Ballroom Etiquette Pointed Misgivings teaches you the Guard emote. It can be purchased from the Resistance Quartermaster in the Southern Front or in Zadnor for 50 Bozjan clusters. Modern Aesthetics Both Ways is a cute hairstyle. If you're a sage, you probably know someone with it. This is found randomly in Zadnor lockboxes found in the Zadnor zone. Both of these can also be found on the market board. The Styled for Hire hairstyle, one of my favorites, is purchased for 18,000 wolf marks. That means you need to do some PvP to get it, unless you get it from the Moogles. You can get it from Mark in the Wolves' Den Pier. His last name is Quartermaster. You need to select the Other category, and then the Miscellaneous subcategory to find it. The Treasure Box minion is normally sold by the Hunt Bill Master in your Grand Company headquarters. It costs 440 allied seals, which are obtained from a Realm Reborn hunts and from completing certain Blue Mage content. That's a good chunk of seals, so if you don't have it, getting it for 7 tomestones might be easier. The Fat Cat minion is randomly returned from retainer ventures, waterside exploration ventures to be specific, and only certain ones. These 18-hour ventures are only available to retainers with the Fisher class. I have personally received it at least once this way, maybe twice. It is tradable and may also be found in the Material Container 3.0 from your Grand Company Quartermaster. You need to complete certain quests in order to purchase these cards from the Moogles. You will want to make sure to have completed Triple Triad Trial in the Gold Saucer. This unlocks the Triple Triad game and is specifically required in order to purchase the first card, the Warrior of Light. This is normally only available from the Gold Triad card envelope purchasable from the Triple Triad Trader at the Gold Saucer. This is one of several card envelopes that give you a random card. You may get a card you already have, but at least you can sell it back, so it isn't a complete loss. The Yagiri Mistwalker card can be won in a duel with Yellow Moon in the Weaver's Guild in Ul'dah. The Nath card can be won from Mogmill in the Churning Mists. He lives on top of Mogholm. You can't get the card from him nor the itinerant Moogles until you complete Mogmill's quest, A Secret from Everyone. The Suzaku card drops in Hell's Kier, a dungeon that is part of the Four Lords questline, and you cannot purchase it unless you finish the quest, The Firebird Down Below, the quest that unlocks the dungeon. Ultima, the High Seraph, drops in the 24-player raid, the Orbani Monastery, part of the Return to Ivalice questline. Getting it from the Moogles requires completing the quest that unlocks that raid, the City of Lost Angels. It can also be won from Hanagasa in Kugane. Remember, this event ends with the maintenance before 6.5, when you will no longer be able to get irregular tomestones of 10-fold pageantry. It's nice to see some of the older Moogle items come back from time to time, but there are a few items that have not returned since the treasure trove began. The slime earrings were available a couple times. Honestly, they should be part of the Dragon Quest event. Maybe if they update that with a second part to the story. There was also the hatchling earring, which I was fortunate to get in 2018. The Magitech torches and the Skyrocket fireworks were also available in 2018, but have been rewarded for certain promotions. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.